The Edmonton Oilers have their best chance of reaching the Stanley Cup Final since 2006, and their chances might have just got a whole lot better after breaking news: Chris Tanev has bad guts after drinking at Booster Juice. No, it's not the case, but he was seen wearing a walking boot at the Edmonton airport going back to Dallas for Game 5 of the Western Conference Final. And if Chris Tanev is injured for the Dallas Stars, that could be the real reason why the Edmonton Oilers do make the Stanley Cup Final. But credit where credit is due. Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid are out of this world. We'll get into all of that and more in this video, but first I want to welcome you to Hattrick HQ. I am Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love hockey, you want to stay up to date on the NHL playoffs, then make sure you subscribe so you can get all of the lovely updates and rumors going around in the league. We would love to welcome you to the Hattrick HQ family, but without further ado, let's talk about the injury that could change everything for both the Edmonton Oilers and the Dallas Stars. The Western Conference Final has totally lived up to expectations. It has had a little bit of everything, but now we have even more drama. It could go down as a bit of a controversy regarding Chris Tanev's health, because there's no denying that since the Dallas Stars acquired the rugged defenseman, he has been out of this world, and the Dallas Stars have been arguably the best team in the NHL. But let's take a look at a little article here from Robert Tiffin. All credit due to him for this article. Wither the Stars without Chris Tanev. Dallas has won without key players, but this one is different. Now, last year, the Dallas Stars did make the Western Conference Final, and they just were not deep enough, especially defensively, to contain the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, lots of people would argue that the Edmonton Oilers have an even better offense than Vegas did last year, so it's even tougher to contain them. And they've shown that, which we will get into later in this video, just how good the Oilers offense has been in these playoffs. But let's continue the article here. On February 29th, the Stars acquired Chris Tanev from the Calgary Flames. It was the latest grift by Jim Nill, who is no stranger to winning a trade, and the Stars went 16-4 over the final quarter of the regular season with Chris Tanev. On May 29th, fast forward 3 months, Chris Tanev blocked a shot and hobbled off the ice. The Stars collapsed, turning in perhaps their worst performance of the playoffs against the Edmonton Oilers as the Western Conference Final drew level at 2 games apiece. The Stars started off this game so hot, 2 goals before the Oilers even got a shot. They were up 2-0. Then they just completely collapsed. All credit due to the Oilers. They played amazing. But in that third period with Chris Tanev going down, the Stars, they just couldn't contain the Edmonton Oilers offense anymore and lost 5-2 to knot the series. It does show that Chris Tanev is so valuable to this Dallas Stars team, and he really does round out that D-core that has been sensational over the past few months. Tanev could make another remarkable comeback, as coach Pete DeBoer said Thursday. The team is waiting for further testing to confirm his status. But even if he does play, it's reasonable to wonder how effective he'll be, given the shot block was painful enough to take him out of the game to begin with. And that's shocking, because Chris Tanev is an absolute warrior and plays through practically every injury possible. The worst case scenario, however, would be a prolonged absence. Even a 1-game absence could be critical for the Stars' Stanley Cup hopes. Whether or not they get Tanev back, the Stars will have to adapt, and quickly. And that adaptation isn't exactly favorable for the Dallas Stars, and it is going to be quite favorable for the Edmonton Oilers so that they can make the Stanley Cup Final. Honestly, this is the best chance I think they'll have in the McDavid and Draisaitl era of making the Stanley Cup Final. I mean, who knows what the future holds, but easily, since McDavid has been an Oiler, this is their strongest chance. But the Stars, if they are without Chris Tanev, which at the time of this recording, it is unclear whether he is going to be playing tonight or not for Game 5, the Stars do not have great replacements for Tanev. So let's take a look at that. Here are the options. Niels Lundqvist, who against Colorado played his way out of the meager minutes he was getting. Yeah, he was not good in that first round, got taken out. Then you have Derek Pouliot, who played in 5 regular season games and got a shot against the Avalanche only after Lundqvist struggled. Also, not a great option at all. I feel like Derek Pouliot has been given many chances in his NHL career, and it just hasn't worked out. And then the last one here, Leon Bichelle, a 6'6", 20-year-old rookie who has never played in an NHL game. Not great. So if Tanev isn't ready to go and can't play, and one of those guys goes in, this is so favorable for the Oilers. They can double shift McDavid and Draisaitl as much as they want, as much as they're able to, and they should be able to skate circles around this Stars defense. because they're already showing just how good they are. But if they start double shifting them against a weaker Stars D-core, it's game over. Congratulations, Edmonton Oilers. You are going to the Stanley Cup Final for the first time in almost 20 years. It is an insane, I guess, scenario. And even if Chris Tanev does play through an injury, I don't know how much you can play through. We've seen players in the past play through some gnarly injuries in the playoffs and go on to win the Stanley Cup. Chris Tanev here, he's already a little bit beat up. He's been beat up throughout his whole career, really. He had some big injuries on the Canucks. He went through injury issues on the Flames, and now on the Stars. He already in the regular season went through a bit of an injury, which was a huge scare. And now in the playoffs, to take him out of the game and see him in a walking boot is just insane. You know what? I'm actually going to pull this picture up again. The one thing I want to notice is Chris Tanev on the ice looks like such a big dude. Seeing him here at the Edmonton airport in front of the booster juice there, he doesn't look all that big. And I actually ran into the guy at the Lazy Loaf Kettle and something it's called. It's a cafe in Calgary, Alberta. I ran into him there before this season started, and I thought the same thing. How does this guy look so big on the ice, and he doesn't look that huge off the ice? I just find that interesting about hockey players. But either way, whether he's big or not, he's a warrior. It'll be interesting to see if he plays. If he doesn't, consider this series over. However, this isn't the only big reason why the Oilers will advance to the Stanley Cup Final. The other is that I have to give credit where credit is due. Now, if you didn't know this already about me, I am not an Oilers fan. As you can tell from my backdrop, of course, I am a Flames guy. But as much as I dislike the Oilers, I can't just say that the real reason they'll make the final is only because Chris Tanev will be out. While his numbers are absolutely insane at 5-on-5 in these playoffs, that's not the only reason. The Oilers also have some really, really good players. So let's get into the playoff point leaders this season. McDavid, Draisaitl, Bouchard, the top three, all Oilers, and look at the top two. They are way ahead of the rest of the pack in Matthew Tkachuk and Vinny Trocheck there. McDavid is on another level right now, especially as the playoffs progress. He is just getting better and better, it seems. And Draisaitl, you cannot deny that throughout these playoffs and just his playoff career, he has been absolutely sensational, putting up numbers all the time. These guys are unstoppable. In fact, let's take a look at their numbers in their playoff careers. So Draisaitl in 65 games has 41 goals. That's pretty much 2 goals every 3 games for 103 points. 103 points in 65 playoff games. Oh, look at that. McDavid also has that stat line. 103 points in 65 games. A few less goals, about a goal every other game, and then more than an assist a game for McDavid there. That is just wild. And I will say again, I hate the Oilers and I love the Toronto Maple Leafs, but comparing the big two of the Oilers to the big two of Matthews and Marner in the playoffs for their careers isn't great. Let's take a look at the Leafs numbers here. So Matthews and Marner, they do not have bad stats for playoff careers. I mean, 48 points in 55 games for Matthews and then 50 points in 57 games for Marner. That's not awful. It's good compared to a lot of the rest of the league. But I'll say here first, if you are a Leafs fan and you are still taking Matthews and Marner over Draisaitl and McDavid, you are out to lunch. I think it is insane that you wouldn't say that this is the best duo in the NHL today. Maybe one of the best duos we've seen in a long time. Almost reminiscent of, a Taves and Kane, but more productive. Maybe not quite as gritty. And then you can go back to Crosby and Malkin as well. Just point machines that can lead a team. And McDavid and Draisaitl, they are doing it right now. As much as I don't like it, they are well on their way to the Stanley Cup Final. And they will have a good chance of improving that tonight as the game goes at 6:30 p.m. Edmonton time. That'll be 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, obviously. That one is in Dallas. At the time of recording, it has not been said whether Chris Tanev will be playing or not, but that should play a huge role. And either way, it should be a very exciting game to watch. Whoever wins will be one win away from the Stanley Cup Final, while the other will be facing elimination. And this is the time for the Edmonton Oilers to represent Canada in the Stanley Cup Final. My goodness, it should be a good one. Now let's wrap up this video with the comment of the day, everyone's favorite part of the day. And this one was from a video regarding the Maple Leafs and kind of some of the things that they should do with the Big Four and, of course, top prospect Easton Cowan. And I like this comment here from B Money. Cowan will maybe play the few regular season games for the Leafs, but ultimately expect him to be sent to the AHL. In my opinion, he's on a similar trajectory as Kadri. So yes, we can say that Easton Cowan is an insane prospect, because he is. To say he's on a similar trajectory as Kadri is interesting, because Kadri was very hyped up as a prospect, wasn't necessarily bad for the Leafs, but didn't quite pan out in the way most fans would have hoped. Then, of course, we know what happened to Kadri. He went on to win the Cup in Colorado, had an insane season or two, and now has been okay for the Calgary Flames. But to say Cowan's on a similar trajectory is a bit of a bolder take, but it's not necessarily unreasonable to say that. The Leafs should take their time with Cowan. As good as he is, do not rush him in, get him so exposed to the media, and get all that pressure on him, because that can derail a career a little bit. I know he's the real deal and should be amazing, but just take your time, Leafs, please. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you like what you saw here today, and have a wonderful rest of your day.